Today, inshallah, we are going to continue the first concept in the second curriculum. We are going to study concept 3.1, biosphere and hydrosphere interactions. And let's start with activity number 4. What do you already know about hydrosphere and biosphere interaction? My dear student, let's take a quick revision about the word hydrosphere and biosphere and how there is interaction between them. Biosphere includes all water on Earth. The hydrosphere includes all water on Earth, but the biosphere includes all the living organisms which found on the Earth's surface. And if we are going to talk about the biosphere and hydrosphere interaction, let's start with the hydrosphere. Water bodies, my dear students, found on Earth in different forms: solid, liquid, and gases, and also in different locations. Like what? Like 4 different locations which we are going to study. The first one, ocean and seas. The second one, lakes. The third one, rivers. And the last one, groundwater. So, water found on Earth in different locations. Let's write again. Groundwater, river, lakes, and oceans and seas. Let's start with ocean and seas. Ocean and seas are very large water bodies. Oceans and seas always contain salt water. So, in ocean and sea, you can find salt water. Now, let's talk about the lake. What about the lake? Ocean and seas contain always salt water, but the lake, my dear student, sometimes contain salt, but mostly or often contain fresh water. So most lakes contain fresh water, but some lakes contain salty water. Okay, what about the lake? This picture, you can find the lake. The lake, is water body which surrounded by land everywhere. So it's a water body surrounded by land. And take care that it's the opposite of island. Island is the land surrounded with water everywhere. But here, lake, water body surrounded by land everywhere. And the type of water, often fresh, sometimes salt. Okay, what about the next one? Next one is river. Rivers, my dear student, always contain what? Fresh water. And the water of the river moved in a definite path. Or a definite channel. But it starts from where? And it ends where? Let's start with this point and draw this diagram. Do you know Egypt map? What about if we draw here the Mediterranean Sea? And here Yeah, that's the delta. Yeah, Nile Delta. And what this? Yeah, it's the River Nile. Not accurate due to drawing, but yeah. Also, this Nile moved ground, and you can find here, yeah, in the Ethiopian what plateaus. Here, my dear student, we can tell that's Egypt, for example. And here, that's what the Red Sea. Okay, it's open, not closed. Yeah, yes, that's what, that's the Mediterranean Sea, and that's what, that's my dear student, the what the Red Sea. If I draw it more accurate for you, yeah, the red, what, the Red Sea. Okay, here, what can we see in Egypt? If the water of the Nile River start from Egypt or end at Egypt, yeah, it end here, here the end. But downward in this plateaus, which is called Ethiopian plateaus, you or Habasha plateau, you can find the start of the water. So the water started from plateau, and this plateau, of course, it's a higher place. But here in the Mediterranean Sea, yeah, or here in the Nile, what delta, have you ever seen a plateau? Of course, no. So the water here end in Egypt, in this location. So the start, the water of the Nile River start from high place and move in a definite path like this. Finally, in at a lower place or a lower altitude. Yeah, and that's called a river. So again, river is a water body which flow from area of high altitude here, yeah, in Africa, and to area of a low altitude and here, yeah, in Mediterranean Sea. Okay, and move in a definite channel. What about the water? It always contains fresh water. Okay, let's talk about another water body which is called what? Groundwater. Have you ever seen groundwater here? Yeah, between the grass or here or any place? Of course, no. My dear student, groundwater not found on the water, but found under the Earth's surface. Not found on the land, but under the Earth's surface. You can find here groundwater. So, groundwater found under or beneath the Earth's surface. So, now we talk about the biosphere and hydrosphere interaction. Have you ever think, is the water a renewable resource or what? Also, a biosphere like the plant, is it a renewable resource of what? Or non-renewable? Let's explain the first one. Is the water renewable? Yes, my dear student. Water is a renewable resource. How it's renewed? Without that, the amount of the water on the earth is constant and doesn't change. And the water, what? Recycled by a water cycle. So the water in the nature recycled using the water cycle. How the water recycled? Yeah, water evaporate and form a water vapor. Then it's collected here again and rain again and forming what? Forming a water body again. So during water cycle in the nature, the water evaporates, form cloud, then return again. Again, that's called a water recycle. Water from hydrosphere is one of the renewable resources of water on Earth. That's because it has what is called water cycle. During water cycle in the nature, water found in water bodies and evaporate and go into the air, forming cloud. And the water return to the Earth's surface during raining. Okay, now what about the plant? Are plants considered renewable resource or not? Of course, my dear student. Also, the plant renewable. How the plant renewable? Plant is part of the biosphere, yeah, but the plant planted from seeds and grow up, forming a new plant. Look, there is a seed. This plant form a seed. The seed germinate and forming a plant, and the plant finally what? Forming a seed, and so on. So the plant can be planted from seed which grow forming new plant. And the plant depend on water to grow. So the biosphere depend on what? The hydrosphere. And the plant affected if the amount of water decrease or get polluted. So keep in your mind that there is interaction between the biosphere and the hydrosphere. And the living organism, yeah, like the plant, the human, and the animal, and so on, yeah, depend on the hydrosphere, my dear student, to survive. Now, let's move, and I want all of you to apply this activity in your life. What's in your environment? Now, let's apply this on this picture. Look at this picture. What can you see? You can see geosphere, land, like the rocks. Yeah, like the soil. Hydrosphere, in water, this puddle. Biosphere, yeah, boy, girl, plant, tree, flowers, and so on. Atmosphere, the wind, the human which breathe air. All of these, yeah, how the spheres found everywhere and what's found in your environment. Now, I want you to apply this activity at your home. Now, let's move to another activity, which summarizes the Earth system. Yeah, scientists named each Earth system using the word sphere. Bio, geo, hydro, atmo, and with sphere. Why? Because the shape of the Earth very close to be a sphere and not completely round. Geosphere, the word geo means Earth. That's the first part. And also we get the geosphere another name, which is called what? Which is called lithosphere. So we can name the geosphere with lithosphere. And the part geo means what? Means Earth. But where we can find the geosphere? We can find the rock, minerals, soil, landform, molten rocks inside the earth. All of these, my dear students, we can find the geosphere. Okay? Next one, hydrosphere. Hydrosphere include all water on under or above the earth. We can find water on the earth's surface. Yeah, under the earth, like underground. Yeah, or frozen at the top of the mountain or above the earth's surface. Okay, so the word hydro means what? It means, and this system contains ocean, sea, river, groundwater, and glaciers. What about the atmosphere? System include all gas that surround the earth. And the word atmo means vapor. And the atmosphere is usually cold air. Atmosphere, my dear student, it's the system which include all gas and surround the earth, like oxygen, carbon dioxide, and also nitrogen. So take care that atmosphere surround the earth. Okay, now let's talk about the interaction. Interaction between what? Between the spheres and where we can find them. Start with hydrosphere and interact with the geosphere. If hydro interacts with the geo, we can find it in what? In the erosion of the rocks by water, in the formation of the lake. All of these example of interaction between hydrosphere and geosphere. Okay, but at the question ask me how there is interaction between atmosphere and biosphere. Let's example with what? Take the example with the plant. The plant during photosynthesis process, it takes what from the atmosphere? Carbon dioxide. And give what to the atmosphere? It gives oxygen. So the interaction between plant bio and the atmosphere. And this oxygen responsible for what? Or important for what? It's important for respiration of all living organisms. Okay? Also, there is interaction between the same plant and what? And the geosphere. How? During photosynthesis. The plant root absorb nutrient from the soil and make their own food. So there is interaction between what? Between geosphere, which represent the soil which the plant take nutrient, and biosphere, which represent what? The plant. Okay? So during respiration, the living organism, there is interaction between living organism and the atmosphere. Living organism like the giraffe consume oxygen and release carbon dioxide. Yeah, what about the plant? The plant during photosynthesis consume carbon dioxide and release oxygen. So there is interaction between the bio and the atmosphere. I think it's clear now. But biosphere, atmosphere, geosphere, hydrosphere. Now we're going to talk about characteristics of biosphere. Biosphere found where, my dear student? Biosphere found everywhere. Yeah, and it includes what? Yeah, human, animal, plant, and biosphere. Yeah, include the any living organism, and you can find biosphere everywhere in large regions in the world. And sometimes you can find regions similar, like this map. Look at this map. There are similar locations with the yellow color. Another location, take the purple, the green, the brown, the gray. These colors have similar soil, similar climate, similar plants, and also similar animals or wildlife. So these regions, my dear student, called what? Called pines. So the pines, similar region. If the world have similar what? And it's a large region. This region similar than what? Soil, climate, plant, animals. Take care, soil, climate, plants, and animals. These pines similar in these characteristics, and they are large region, not another one. You can find pines like desert, forest, rainforest, grassland, and also wetland. All of these called pines and similar in the soil or and climate and plants which live in it and also animal which found here. Okay, human, curious student, part of the biosphere, and human can affect all the earth sphere. Take care to this point. Okay, what about the characteristics of hydrosphere? Some characteristics of the hydrosphere that hydrosphere found in liquid, soil, gaseous, water on earth. Okay, hydrosphere found in different wet states, solid, liquid, or gas. And nearly 71% of the earth covered with water. With that, and this water found in what? Salt water and small amount in fresh. Yeah, found 96.5% of the water on the earth is salt water. But 3.5 is what? That's only the fresh water. So the most salt and the least is what is fresh. So where we can find the salt? In oceans, in seas, in gulf or bays, and also in some lakes. Okay, but the fresh water, most lakes, yeah, take care too, most lakes fresh, but some lakes salt water, fresh water underground, fresh water in the rainwater, and also in the river. So the percentage of the fresh water is 3.5, and it found river, rainwater, groundwater, and most lakes. So take care. Lake, yeah, not like Egypt. In Egypt, most of our lakes is salty. But all over the world, most lakes what? Fish. Okay? So take care. Most of the fresh water on the earth not found in a liquid or running, but found in the state of what? Of frozen water. As a large piece of ice known as what? Known as glaciers. So glaciers are frozen water, and most of the fresh water found frozen in glaciers. What about groundwater? Groundwater, yeah, it's a liquid, and it found where? It found, my dear students, under the wet ground. How it formed? Let's draw a small strong. That's what resembles what, my dear student? Yeah, rocks. If there is a rock, and these rocks called, my dear student, porous rocks. Porous rocks mean that these rocks allow the water to move through it. And finally, we can find the water underground. How? That's what the water. And if we are going to say there is water on the earth, the water will leak through the rocks and in the spaces and collected here. Another water, look here, and leak now and collected here, and maybe also through the rock and spaces and collected here. So, my dear students, the same in all these rocks because they are called a porous rocks. So, what about the groundwater? Yeah, groundwater is the water, and this water lies beneath the Earth's surface and has been leaked. Take care to the word leaked into the earth through layer of porous rocks. Okay, I think it's clear now. And let's move to the next one. If you ask me about example of biosphere and hydrosphere interaction. Look at this picture. We can find here bio and hydro. How there is interaction? When the plant need water to survive, that's interaction between bio and hydro. When the human drink water to survive, interaction between bio and hydro. When the animal drink water to survive, human and animal. When the fish live in water, there is bio and what hydro. Okay? Now, let's solve the first exercise in your class performance. Yeah? Start with this picture. What the type of water here? It's a fresh water. Because what the name of the resource? It's a river. The next one. What this? It always fresh and sometimes what salt, and it's called lake. What about this picture? Yeah, it's a groundwater. And my dear student, it's always fresh water. Let's move to another activity in your classroom performance. Consider the following, okay, and select which sphere interact with each other. Yeah, the first one here, there is a living organism and also so there is interaction between bio and geosphere. The next one, fish in water, so bio and hydrosphere. Next one, living organisms, human boy and girl. What? They breathe water. So, bio and atom. Finally, here, this plant was irrigated by water. So, bio and hydro. I think from the question, you must read it or look at the picture and think for a few seconds. Then, simply, inshallah, you are going to solve it. Now, interaction between hydro and geo. When the water flow on the ground, take care to this word, water on the ground. The soil grain of and the rocks, yeah, move to another place. So that's phenomena. It's called erosion. So water and soil and grains, they move. So there is erosion. And this causes the formation of lake. Another exercise. When there is interaction between atmo and bio. Yeah, atmo and by two process. Yeah, like what? Like the photosynthesis and the respiration, which the plant produced by product. Interaction between the geo and bio. Yeah, the plant or where soil give nutrient for the plant. Soil here represent the geo. Let's move to your home performance. Read the following phrases and then correct the wrong one. Plants are considered non-renewable resource. Hmm, what's wrong here? No, it's not a non-renewable. It's what? It's renewable one. The presence of soil doesn't affect the presence of animal. No, the presence of soil, yeah, affect what? The presence of what animal. The next one, Earth system interact together to balance life on Earth. That's a true sentence and there is no wrong word. Okay, let's move to another exercise. Complete the following. Water flow from high altitude to low altitude in a channel which is called a river. And geosphere includes what? Geosphere includes landform. River, part of the river is the part of the what? Hydrosphere. During crustacea, yeah, there is interaction between living organism and what? The atmosphere. So between the biosphere and the atmosphere. The next question, ask me, explain how water is considered a renewable resource. I think we answered it before today. Yeah? Because, my dear student, water recycled again during water cycle. The next one, what are the different places where there is a water on earth? Mention the places where the water found on earth. Yeah? Ocean, sea, lakes, river, ground, water. Okay. Now, let's solve the weekly assessment. Start with first test. Rocks and minerals are components of what? Rocks and minerals, component of the geosphere. Now, let's write down what the following statement indicates. The sphere that contains air and gases is called atmosphere. Water is considered a renewable resource. Why? Because water recycled again during the water cycle. What's meant by lake? Lake, my dear student, is water body. Yeah, that surrounded by land. Mention the interaction between earthworm, yeah, living soil. Earthworm is the pine. Soil is the geo. So interaction between geo and animal, plant, and plant for their food. Yeah. Now, my dear student, biosphere. So there is interaction between the biosphere and biosphere. The next one, river belong to which type of sphere? River, my dear student, it's type of hydrosphere. Write down what the following statement means. Include all living organisms. It must be the biosphere. Plants are considered a renewable resource. Why? Because the plant planted again from the seed and grow, forming new plant. And if the question asks about what's meant by groundwater, groundwater, my dear students, is the water that lies beneath the Earth's surface. Mention the interaction between the following: rocks and soil move when the water runs. Again, rock, what? It is geosphere. The water, it's hydrosphere. Okay. Plant absorb carbon dioxide. Plant, bio. Carbon dioxide, what? It's atmo, so it's bio and atmosphere. Okay, let's move to another test. Complete the following statement. Human are part of which type of sphere? Human is part of the biosphere. What does this statement indicate? Sphere contain rocks, minerals, and soil. Of course, my dear students, it's what? Yeah, it's the geosphere. Scientists have used the word sphere. Why? Because the Earth, what is considered a sphere, not perfectly what not perfect sphere, but and not completely round. And Earth's shape is a sphere. Okay, what's meant by river? River, my dear student, that's a water body that flow from high altitude to a low altitude in a definite channel. After that, mention the interaction between plant need water to grow. Plant need water to grow. It's interaction between what and what? Plant. It's what? Yeah, it's a biosphere, and water. It's what? It's the what, my dear student? Hydrosphere. Organisms exchange gas with the air. Organisms. It's a biosphere and atmosphere. Now, let's solve and finally choose the correct answer. Rain water is a part of what? Again, rain, it's a part of, yeah, hydrosphere. Falling a small tree due to blowing of the wind. Here you can find the tree which resembles the biosphere and wind that resembles the what? Atmosphere. The next one, presence of a dolphin in an ocean. With a dolphin in oceans, yeah, represent interaction between bio and hydrospheres. At the beginning of water cycle, the water what? Water must evaporate. It can't be frozen at the start. Then it will form what? It will form clouds. The next one, nitrogen and oxygen are gases which make most of nitrogen, oxygen, of course, the atmosphere. Which of these sentences describe atmosphere? Let's read the first one. Gas surround the earth. Of course, it describes the atmosphere. Which of the following is a part of the biosphere? Biosphere resembles what? The living organism. Like what? Of course, the animal. Let's move to the next one. Water nearly covers how much of the Earth's surface? It's about 70%, my dear student. What form 3% of the water on Earth? Just 3% must be the fresh water. Which of the following doesn't contain fresh? No fresh water in Gulf or bay. Formation of the lake is interaction between hydro and what? And geo. Now, my dear students, we finished our session for today. Wishing the best to all of you and see you soon inshallah next session. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.